Okay, so call the meeting to order for the advisory committee at 4:02. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, chapter 30A, section 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southport Advisory Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with the right and a requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at www.southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meetings at www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. All right, so the only thing I'm going to say before we get into the budget is that just to be clear to anybody who's watching on YouTube or on the Zoom, is that we are not doing the joint meeting with Board of Selectmen after this one because they didn't get that meeting posted in time. So as everybody knows, we're doing that tomorrow evening. So there is no Board of Selectmen joint meeting after this meeting. All right, everybody ready? So I sent to you guys earlier today the most current budget spreadsheet. The spreadsheet does the following. There's two versions of it, but they're really, there's only one difference between the two, which I'll explain. So this is what these spreadsheets do as far as numbers go. So as far as start date of the positions we have been debating, the spreadsheets reflect a July 1st start date for the part-time IT person. They reflect, in one case, a 9/1 start date for the full-time youth and family position, and in the other case, a 10/1 start date. So that's the tiny difference between the two of them, is that one thing, September 1st, October 1st. And then it reflects the two police officers starting one as soon as possible, which is September, when the next academy is, and one is the next academy, which is either January or February. So that's your start dates that are in that. That budget, those proposed budgets also reflect our vote as far as the 2% cuts, our version of that, the ones that we went through and basically approved the ones we felt were warranted and did not approve the ones we did not feel were warranted. And that cut in advisory's case was $135,000, which is $25,000 less than what the Board of Selectmen had approved. Lastly, we have removed the fire chief's new vehicle from the budget. And Andrew's here. So the people there's two people on this committee that are also on capital planning. There's also one Board of Selectmen member, Lisa Brascia, who's on it. It is pretty clear from discussions of the capital planning committee, although they have not voted, all they've done is recommend that that decision be made for the fall town meeting. But based on the discussions that we had, I believe that CPC will probably not support that vehicle. So I've had Brian take it off completely from ours so we can get an accurate year-over-year tax increase. So that's it as far as the changes that were made from the last time we talked. So our goal today is to try to vote on one of these two and then take that with us tomorrow when we talk to the Board of Selectmen with the goal of hopefully getting their agreement on it. And I am relatively confident that that's possible as far as one of these versions, A or B. I think that there will be one or two people on the Board of Selectmen that probably will agree with this budget. So our job is to go in with our agreement that we all agree on one or the other, so that then they've got a chance to agree on the one that we agree on, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'll start talking at that point and then listen to what you've got to say. Tim Martell, we're going to talk about the full-time IT position in a moment. So hold the thought on that, and I'll tell you what I'm proposing to do on that in a second. Mr. Rooney, you want to start as far as Youth and Family Services? You got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time talking to Sarah over multiple days. Interesting side note, I had to prepare an expert witness in Wales, and he was available at 7 a.m. his time, which is 2 a.m. 3 a.m. our time. So I finished preparing him, and I realized I had not responded to Sarah's email. So I sent her an email. Within 5 minutes, she sent me back an email saying she was having trouble sleeping because of the work demands. So anecdotally, I thought that was just something I wanted to mention. She would be, the board would be willing to go into town meeting with an agreement for a 9/1 start date. That's the bottom line. Historically, it would have been, but for this pandemic, important to get a July date because during the summer period, they're a bit slower at Youth and Family Services. So they would have had an opportunity to conduct interviews. Now with this new emergent issues that we're facing, she's not really sure what July is going to bring, but the board has voted, they met today, that if there can be an agreement between advisory and board of selectmen, they would certainly reduce their request from a July 1st start date to a September 1st start date. And my recommendation is that we go with that. That was my recommendation from the start. To the extent for further discussion, if the board of selectmen does not agree or there are issues at town meeting, I'd like to request this board's permission to stand up and advocate the majority position of advisory, because I've done some research. I've done some research about Sarah. I've read her newsletters, and I think it'd be important for town meeting to understand exactly what this department does. I understand we've said that everyone agrees that there's no need, but the people at town meeting need to understand what the need is in terms of voting for the start date. So I'll just pause there, Kathy.
Okay. So any comments on what John just said? He's talking about the board for Youth and Family Services. When he says board, they met at 1 o'clock today and they voted on the 9/1 date. So I'm going to assume if you don't have anything to say that you agree. How about that?
So I agree. It sounds like it makes a lot of sense to me. And the dollar difference between the version A and the version B budget, it's very, very small. And on an issue like this, it seems like we should err on the side of getting someone in there earlier rather than 1 month later, just to save a very small amount of money.
So I look at it a little bit differently with the month difference between September and October. I do think that extra month gives us a better sense of where the economy is going and what options will exist within the town and which resources are available. I also think it may make sense for us to put a task force together to work with the Youth and Family Services Department, including their board and Sarah, and potentially somebody from the Board of Selectmen, and kind of piggyback on to what Mr. Rooney did and work with them on grant opportunities and other things that may be able to give them some assistance now too.
Tim, you're the other person who doesn't support this. Do you have any comments?
I don't have any comments on the difference of 1 month.
Okay. All right. I don't know where Andrew went. He got up pretty fast. So these meetings are funny. You can see what people are doing in their houses. Okay. Let's just put that aside for a moment till he gets back. Let's go on to part-time IT person starting July 1st is what we voted on. So that's no different. So I'm not going to ask for any comments unless someone's got something to say about that. Again, we're going to talk about the bigger issue in a second. But this is just to get the part-time person that Tom LaFlamme really wants in place on July 1st. All right, so then the last one is the police. So the 2 police officers are being proposed to be staggered, one early, one later. Does anyone have a issue with that compromise?
Nope.
And remember, we think he's going to fill the shifts with overtime, so it's not like we're going to leave something hanging. We think he's got a way to cover it till he gets his full-time staff.
Kathy, we're just going to vote on that one separately though, correct?
Yeah, so we're going to do, John, is vote on the budget except for police and youth and rec.
Thank you.
And then we'll vote on each of those separately so you can abstain. Okay. Well, again, I don't know where Andrew's going. So, okay, so I'm assuming that we have come to a split vote on youth and family services. Unanimous vote on IT full-time and unanimous vote on police being split between the two. So that's what we'll vote on in a second. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about the other differences in the budget since you saw this last.
Kathy, it's
Chelsea, go ahead.
IT part-time, right?
Say that again?
It's IT part-time.
Yes.
Okay.
IT is part-time. Did I say full-time? So I didn't mean to if I did. Yes, IT is part-time, youth and family services full-time, and the police officers are full-time. Okay, since we talked last time, you remember the Finn boiler has come and gone. We supported it when the school committee and superintendent came in front of us, and then we were told that they had removed it. Then we were told that it was back. And then we were told, well, they don't really need it for 5 to 7 years. So since all that, the chair of the K through 8 school committee called me. And the reason that they have voted again to put it on the warrant for Saturday is really 3 factors. They are concerned that the reimbursement from the state might change because of the state financial predicament if they wait, and it's been approved. So the MSBA has approved their submission to reimburse 37%. Go
Kathy,
ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
Kathy,
Yes.
did you say that the boiler now is back on?
yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay,
it
I'm
was,
sorry, I didn't get that. If that was an email, I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
it was on and then it was off and then at the last second it's back on.
Yep.
And we're supposed to be able to support this type of process.
Well, we're going to decide, Tim.
I don't have, it doesn't leave me with a lot of confidence, Kathy, in the decision making here.
So
this-
we're going, well, hear me out and then we'll decide what we want to do. So it's a school committee that's sponsoring this article. So they're the ones that have voted to sponsor the article. They've approved it again. So it's back on for Saturday. So we've got to decide whether we're going to support it or not. So the reasons that she gave me were that they've spent $50,000 on engineering that they would have to repeat if they waited 5 to 7 years. So they throw that money away. That money is spent, it's lost, it's sunk. They have been assured.
But
Sure.
Kathy, why do they need to do it again? Because it expires after a certain amount of time?
Yeah, well, it'd have to be updated. They'd have to resubmit their request to the MSBA, which is the group that approves all the school
Yeah,
reimbursement. So
but-
they'd
but-
have to resubmit, and I assume they'd have to update their engineering because the cost would change. So
Okay,
my
wouldn't
guess is
it-
they would.
it would be
They
enough-
might be able to piggyback it a little bit, but they would definitely have to spend some money to get it ready to go back in.
Okay.
But
Sorry,
again,
Tim,
we're
sorry.
not talking about next year. We're talking about something they could do 5 to 7 years from now. And then the last one is the fact that they think that the reimbursement rate might go down over time because of fiscal woes because of the virus. Now, the 37% has been in place for a long, long, long time. So I don't give much credence to that one. They don't know that. They're just throwing that out there. But the last thing that got said, so Ms. Martin, the chair, said to me, well, Kathy, you must have misunderstood the superintendent when you talked to him. And I said, actually, I didn't. I actually quoted him. I literally wrote down exactly what he said. He clearly said, there's nothing wrong with this boiler, that should last another 5 to 7 years. And the only reason the MSBA approved it, not because they think we should do it, it's because it's 21 years old. So they will approve anything that is at least 20 years old. So they're not opining on whether it could last another 5 to 7 years. It met their criteria, which are pretty restricted as far as what you have to show them before they'll approve it. So I wouldn't put a whole lot of weight in the MSBA approval as far as it meaning something. It just means that the equipment is 20 years old, and we agree it's 21 years old. Okay, so Tim, what do you want to do?
I'm sorry. If it has 5 to 7 years of life left in it, I don't even know why this is a question.
And Kathy, I recall exactly the same discussion that you just related to. It doesn't sound like that has changed.
Right. No. And I said to them, I tried to explain to her that we've got a really bad budget problem the next 5 years. And so being able to legitimately move something 5 to 7 years without hurting anything is important, that we do that if we can. I mean, that saves debt service for 5 years, and you start the clock over in 5 years. So that's the conversation I had.
I assume the boiler's insured.
I don't know the answer to that, and I'm not sure that it is. In fact, something that's 21 years old, I doubt if it is, John. So
Yeah,
my guess is we would, if it needs to be repaired, we're going to fix it.
Okay.
Is there anything in the engineering study that talks about when it should be done?
I haven't read the study, so I don't know, Chelsea.
Can we get a copy of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrew?
Could you remind us how much money this was supposed to cost?
About $600,000 out of pocket. And it was going to be bonded, so bonded over a period of time. So it'd be more than that with the interest on there. But of course, you got the time value of the money too. So 600 was going to be our share of the total cost.
And so then that would hit the FY22 budget?
Actually, he's going to hit FY21. He didn't have it in there, Chelsea, but he thinks he's got enough cushion elsewhere that he can use it, so it's not going to affect anything. So he should have had it on his debt service schedule, but he doesn't. And he didn't want to change it. This is Brian Valentine, didn't want to change it. So he thinks that by the time they go to set the tax rate in the fall, that there'll be enough that have been moved the other way, that he'll be fine, that he'll have small sets. So he doesn't think it's going to change anything.
What do you mean he thinks he has enough in there anyway?
Because the process, if we think that we're done when we approve this budget, we're really not as far as setting the tax rate, right? The tax rate is going to be set with other factors in it besides the operating budget. It's going to be set with what we think local revenue looks like and and other things that may have happened in between. So there's still some variability in what the actual year-over-year tax increase will be by the time Paul Sabelli sits down and sets it. So Brian Valentine thinks there'll be enough going the other way that he'll be fine as far as scooting in some interest. He thinks he'll finance it with short-term debt at first. There may be a payment due in fiscal year 21, but he thinks it's going to be small as far as what he'd have to pay. And then he'd bond it the next year. So
Kathy, have we acted on this already once? Haven't
we
we?
did, Judy, but the facts have changed. We did. We approved it because they told us when they came in front of us that it was on its last legs. It had to be done this summer. That's what I heard anyway. So now we're hearing a different story. And the fact that they moved it off at one point tells you they didn't think it had to be done. And then they moved it back. So they've definitely gone back and forth on this. And there definitely hasn't been a consistent set of facts given to us.
So has the school committee taken a final position on this?
Mm-hmm. So they will get up at town meeting and argue this. So they've supported. So they will, if we don't support it, there will be a disagreement at town meeting. Unless we talk to them ahead of time and they somehow, they're not going to meet before Saturday or before Saturday. So
is the superintendent going to admit that a statement was made that it has 5 to 7 years of life left in it, or is that going to
Beth Milo called
smoke?
him. Beth Milo, I sent Beth Milo an email. So these are the things he said to me exactly. She called him. He confirmed it. He said, "Yep, she's quoted me accurately."
Wow.
And Katura, Martin, the chair, she didn't disagree with what I'm saying about 5 to 7 years. She just said because they've already spent the money on the engineering, because they're worried about the reimbursement, and because they've got the assurance from the installer that he can get it done from soup to nuts before the start of school in the fall, that they want to go ahead and do it.
Assuming we have school in the fall.
Well, that's a big assumption, isn't it? But they don't know the answer to that, so they've got to at least know that they could get it done in case there is one of the two versions that are on the table as far as on-site school.
I think
Is
this
it-
is a perfect example of something we could put off until we know what the revenue situation is looking like, at least fall town meeting.
Yeah, but if you do it then it'll wait till the next year. They won't be able to get it done. So
Yeah.
that's going to be, that's what they're going to say to that. You know, we'd be happy to pull it off, but we can't get it done if you wait that long.
But it doesn't sound like
Yeah,
it
but
needs
they-
to be done.
No, I agree.
But that should take away that, if we do it next year, I think that engineering study will still be valid. I think the issue is when it's
Agree.
5 to 7 years out.
I agree. So you could say, look, the engineering study is still valid, so that's not a good reason. You've already said it's 5 to 7 years, so if we were to prove it next year, you're still fine. So let's put it off till we know more. And since we know we could put it off, I mean, if you took every piece of equipment in town that could last another 5 to 7 years and said, go ahead, let's put it out, we'd have a problem, right? We don't do that as a rule. And nor do we do it in our own homes. You know, you wait till something breaks before you replace it. You just go, let me just replace
I
it
mean-
7 years ahead of time.
I mean, historically, the advisory and selectmen, for good reason, for legitimate reasons, for important reasons, have supported the school committee's requests.
Sure.
This just seems a bit out of the ordinary in terms of the mechanics and the procedure and the path that it took to get to us. And I'm
Yeah.
troubled by the comment that, or the statement that appears to be consistent, that it could last another 5 to 7 years. Well, you
If
know,
it was just 1 year, you know, we'd be fine, do it. But it's not 1 year. 5 to 7 years means a lot in this capital plan that we're looking
yeah,
at. Okay, so sounds like we're in pretty much agreement here, from what I can tell. So why don't we go ahead and take a vote on this one thing now while we're talking about it?
So Kathy, the school committee is meeting on Wednesday night at
It is.
6:30. So does it make sense for us to send someone from this committee to talk to them about our concerns kind of with the process and really what we should be doing with this?
Yeah, I think we should talk to someone ahead of time.
Okay,
And then actually one of us participate in their meeting, so we can make our case to the entire committee. So that's great. I didn't realize they were going to.
I mean, I don't see it on their, I'm just looking at their agenda now. I don't see it called out as a line item.
Well, they voted on it last time, so it probably wouldn't be.
Mhm.
They think they're done. So that's a great idea. Okay, so knowing that, I think that helps. We've got another chance to get them to agree so we don't have to discuss it Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, so can someone make a motion to not approve the Finn boiler for fiscal year 21? We don't have to say when we're going to approve it, just we're not going to approve it for fiscal year 21.
I move that the advisory committee not support the Finn boiler for FY 2021.
Okay, I second.
All right, so roll call vote. Judy?
Bud's, aye.
Cook, aye.
Dennington, aye.
Malinowski, aye.
Martell, aye.
Rooney,
Half
aye.
eye.
Rooney, aye.
Okay, 7-0. All right, that part's done. Okay, Andrew, you were trying to wait till you got back to go back to the spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and unless somebody disagrees, let's vote on that, and we're going to vote in two parts. And so Andrew, I need your help with the motion here. So we want to make a motion to approve the budget that is on the spreadsheet, and I'll get you the exact one.
Andrew, you in a barn or is that a garage?
This is my barn. Yep.
Nice.
My barn man cave.
Is that a Christmas tree in the back?
Yeah.
Ah,
It's actually a very nice barn.
yeah. I think we could have our meetings there.
Yeah, why don't we
Yeah.
do that?
We could socially distant.
We could. It's about 4,000 square feet and it's heated and air conditioned.
Jesus, what are we doing this for?
Okay, so Andrew, the motion I want you to make is one that supports the proposed spending for fiscal year 21 that generates a 0.9% year-over-year increase, exclusive of the police department budget, including any capital items that they have, and then exclusive of the rec department operational budget.
Okay. Is it matter which one you sent? Like, what are we trying to get to?
Well, the
I
one,
mean,
this is gonna be,
I think it would be better if you screen shared what version you're looking at,
okay,
and then we approve it off of that. Might be a little easier.
all right.
Because then people will be like, oh, it's still 0.90, but you know, you didn't approve this thing versus that thing.
Okay.
How'd you get such a big barn?
And Andrew, you
with the
can
house.
also call, you can call it option A.
Option A. Okay.
You want to approve the barn first, John?
Absolutely. Unanimous. I'm surprised I haven't gotten an invite yet.
Come on over. It was on the Christmas tour this year, so you missed your chance there.
Do you have birds in your barn?
I think that's one of the outdoor, either Chelsea.
I think it's me. I think it's my house.
I got to jump off for a bit.
Okay, can everybody see
Yep.
option B spreadsheet?
Good.
Okay, that's B. Now I'm bringing A over, so hold on. Let me get in. Okay, here's A. So this is the one we want to vote on. This is the one that's got the 9/1 Youth and Family Services start date.
So I
So-
can't do that. I don't know if everyone else can.
Okay, so try again.
I see your email.
You still can't see it?
No, now we see the final Boston 2% adjustment list.
You're looking at the wrong screen. How about now?
Now we see your Zoom screen. All right, now we see it. Option A.
All right, sorry. I'll figure this out when the pandemic is about to end. Okay, so there we go. So this is the one we're voting on, and we're going to exclude all police, capital and operational and rec, so that Mr. Mooney can vote on everything but those two things. Okay,
And
So,
I apologize, everyone, for having to do this.
that's okay, we understand.
So this
All right.
does not show what could get approved at a fall town meeting. This is the percentage that we're saying is getting approved at the spring town meeting.
Correct. This is what's being approved on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay,
And what's left for the fall at this point in time?
not much.
Anything?
So we've got the hook truck and the chief's vehicle.
And the
What-
equipment for the new ambulance, but that would probably get funded out of the ambulance fund, so it wouldn't impact the tax rate.
Say that again, Chelsea?
The equipment, I'm sorry. Nope, that's wrong. Sorry. The SCBA match for the grant that was applied for. So the gear application that was submitted I think in March,
Mhm.
or maybe April, there was a match that if we get the grant that the town would need to do. I think it's like $13,000
Okay,
that would need to
Yeah, but
be
that'll,
funded.
yeah, and that maybe could down to the ambulance fund, so we don't have to.
I think that might be on your spring fall capital tab, Kath. Oh, no, it's not there.
well, it's definitely not on this one, that much I know. So let's go ahead and get this voted and then we'll see. So yes, to answer Chelsea's question, this is only what we're approving for Saturday. Okay, so Andrew,
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, Kathy. Was the boiler there? Back up?
no, the boiler's not in here to begin with.
I
Well,
thought-
wait,
I
wait,
just-
wait. No, you're right. It is. There's no money in here, but you're right. It is on the articles.
Okay.
Yeah, so there it is.
Let's just
So we're
make
going,
that-
There's your SDBA on line 34.
yep, there it is.
I
Okay.
knew I brought in there somewhere. So that would also be on the fall.
So the Finn boiler that's going to be there. Are we voting that?
No,
as being there?
we've taken it out. So
Okay, all right.
Andrew, can you do
And
your,
can
I
you
know,
just double
I
check
know,
that the budget capital does not include the chief's vehicle?
yeah, I've already done that, but I'll show you. So it's gone. And that did affect the tax rate, so it's gone. See that?
Yeah.
You happy?
I can't see it.
Right there, it's not there.
But we're not voting on it coming out. We're just showing what we're approving for Saturday's town meeting, right?
Yeah, so it's not in there is the other way to say it.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Andrew, you can't see that it's not there?
No, I see it now. Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Okay, so do you know what your motion, do you understand your motion? It's compound.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Let me give it a shot. So I so move that we approve the advisory version A of the fiscal year 21 budget, excluding rec, police, and was there another one?
Finn boiler?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so but we should remove that from this spreadsheet.
Okay, it just doesn't change anything, so I'll show you.
It doesn't change anything, but then this becomes our official, what did we approve,
All right,
not
so I'm
approve.
going to take it out. Okay, I'll take it out. Okay, so here we go. So it's out. It didn't change anything, okay? So it's out as far as this workbook that we're going to keep and say this is what we voted on.
Yeah, and I just have to exclude rec and police, right?
Yeah, but do it again and say rec operational budget and police, both operating and capital.
I moved that we accept the advisory option A plan for the fiscal year 21 budget, excluding rec, operational and capital, and fire operational and capital items, which is a 9.90% increase year over year. on
You
the
said
tax rate.
fire, you mean police.
Police. Amend it to police instead of fire.
Okay. So you want to say it again just to get it all right so that when she looks at this, she's clear what we voted on here?
So I make a motion that we vote to accept advisory option A for the fiscal year 21 budget, which is a 0.90% increase year over year in the tax rate. But we exclude from this vote fire capital and operational budgets and recreational capital and operational budgets.
Said fire again.
All right, police, just police.
Third time, do
I'm
it
not making
again.
this again. I'm not making it again. John, can do it this time.
Okay, I'll make the motion, okay? So I make a motion to approve advisory option A for fiscal year 21 that results in a 0.9 increase in year over year expected real estate taxes. And that excludes the operational budget for recreation and excludes both the operating and capital budgets for police.
Second.
Seconded.
Did you second, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion?
And this is
You
a
know, I'm- can
Nine-
you, wait, can you explain? I have no idea what we just did.
So Judy, John Rooney can't vote on police and rec because his daughter works for rec and his
Right, I know
son-in-law
all
works
that.
for police. So I'm trying to get those two out of there so he can vote on
Okay.
everything but those two.
Okay, I got
Okay.
it.
And,
Okay.
and just to clarify, this is for a 9/1 start date for youth and family, and then the second vote, we're gonna take it for a 10/1.
No, I thought we hadn't.
No, this is our vote, Chelsea. We're not going to vote.
We're not
this.
gonna vote two different ways. Okay.
This is it. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Bud's eye.
Cook, aye.
Pennington, I.
Malinowski, no.
Martell, I.
Half aye.
Rooney, aye.
Okay, so that vote is 6-1-0. Okay, now, Andrew, can you make a motion to separately approve the police department operational budget and its capital budget?
Can we do
As
both?
shown on
together?
advisory option A. Excuse me?
Can we do the rec one too? Because just John's
Just
not
do
gonna
them
vote.
separately, just to be clear, do them separately.
All right, I move that we approve the police capital and operational budget as shown in spreadsheet.
Advisory option A.
Advisory option A, which really we should let, if you want to go to the actual capital budget, we should put the actual amount.
We
Operational
could put
budget.
actual amount, you can put actual amounts in this if you want to.
It doesn't really matter. We'll just go to the screen and show it so that we can go to the record.
Okay, so this is what we're approving for police and fire is the $45,000. That's both police and fire. We're also approving in budget capital, the police chief vehicle and the taser program. So there's three things on capital we're approving. And then we're approving their overall operational budget that's shown here.
So, sorry, Kathy, to go back on the last motion, but I would like to separate out youth and family and the rest of the operational budget because that's the one that I don't want to vote down the entire budget for one line item. And I thought we were going to vote 9/1 versus 10/1, and I would have voted yes for 10/1 and not 9/1. So I don't want to go into town meeting having an advisory member not agree with the budget.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going
And-
to, go ahead.
And why is it 9-1 versus 10-1 versus 7-1?
Well, we don't think we get an agreement on 7-1 based on conversations that I've had. I do believe that the board of selectmen will approve 9-1, but not 7-1. We only need one more vote. On top of that, Youth and Family Services just had a board meeting and they approved 9-1. They did not approve 10-1. And I'm trying to avoid, as is Mr. Rooney, them standing up at town meetings saying, we really want 9-1 and having an argument over 1 month.
So they've approved 9/1, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
we're approving this. Okay, so Chelsea, fair enough. Okay, so I'm going to rescind the previous, I'm going to change the previous motion. And I'm going to make a motion to approve the budget that is shown on labeled fiscal year 21 advisory option A that will generate a 0.9% year-over-year tax increase, except for the following. I'm excluding from that the police operational and 3 capital items. I'm excluding from that the rec budget, and I'm excluding from that the youth and family services budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Judy,
Okay, Bud's eye.
Cook, aye.
Pennington, I.
Malinowski, aye.
Martell, I.
Half aye. I think John had to step on a call, so he might not be able to join. So, but he's going to abstain anyway. So,
Okay, so, well, no, he was going to vote on that one. So that's, we're just going to say that's 6-0-1. Okay, now we're going to vote on the individual departments. So I make a motion to approve the Youth and Family Services Department budget as shown on the fiscal year 21 advisory option A. That is $238,118 and includes a new full-time person starting September 1st. So do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call.
Bud's eye.
Cook, aye.
Bennington, I.
Kalinowski, no.
Martell, I.
I know John wants to vote on it.
Now he,
Yeah, Kathy, one question. So is there a second resource in February?
that is police.
Okay. Then FAF, aye.
Okay, I know he wants to vote Judy, but we still got the vote, so it's 5-1-0. Okay, the other one's 5-6-0-1. Yeah, so this was 5-1-1. Okay, 5-1-1 on this one. 1 abstention, 1 against, and 5-4. Okay, now we're going to vote on the police budget. So the motion is to approve the police budget of $2,314.110 that is shown on the advisory fiscal year 21 advisory option A that generates a 0.9% year-over-year expected tax increase, and to include a vote on all of the police capital items, which include 2 items on budget capital, the taser and the chief vehicle, and 1 item on the articles, which is the money being spent jointly between police and fire on the antenna maintenance and purchase. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call. Judy,
aye. Bud's eye.
Cook, aye.
Bennington, I.
Kalinowski, I.
Martell, I.
Kathy, not to belabor it, but so this includes both resources starting in July or on the September one? Or
Yeah.
1 in September, 1 in February?
No, it's one, so they're delayed. They're delayed to the police academy start in September, and there's some disagreement on when the next one starts. So it's whenever it starts. So the first one,
Okay.
the first one starts in September, and so our compromise is one starts now, one starts later. That's what we're
then
voting on right now. That's what's in this budget, okay?
Then
Right.
FAF, aye.
Okay, so that vote was 6-0-1. Okay. All right, so I think we've got a budget to take to tomorrow's meeting. I will make sure they know ahead of time what that budget is, so hopefully they will come and start off with not much to discuss.
I'm sorry, did that include rec?
Did I not do rec separately?
I don't think we've done
I don't
rec
think I
yet.
did either. No, I don't think I did either. Sorry, Tim. Thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry about this, guys. So I make a motion to approve the rec department that is shown on the fiscal year 21 advisory option A, and that totals $148,262. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call. Judy,
Bud's eye.
Cook, aye.
Bennington, I.
Kalinowski, I.
Martell, I.
FAF, aye.
Okay, so that one is 6-0-1 also. Okay, now I think that does complete all the votes we got to take as far as the budget goes. Does anybody disagree? Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the advisory report that we normally prepare for town meeting. There's going to be no screens, no chance to do a whole lot. So my proposal is just to do a written report that I will write probably tonight, maybe tomorrow, circulate to you guys. You guys come back to me with comments, edits, whatever. And then have it ready to be handed out on Saturday, but also send it to Beth Milo to post on my Southborough so people that are coming to the town meeting will have a chance to read it before they get there.
Thank you.
Who said thank you?
I did.
Okay, so Tim, I plan on including that in there and letting you really take charge of it as a section that talks about the IT risk we have.
Okay.
Okay, so that's kind of our opening of that. Anybody have a disagreement with the plan? Okay.
When
right,
do you
so
want to get it? When do you want, if you want me to do the final edit the way I
I
did
do,
last? year?
I do. So Judy, I'd like to have it, I'm going to tell Beth it's coming, so I'd like to have it on My Southborough by Thursday. So if I have it on your email by tomorrow morning,
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys
that's-
get back to
that's
me by tomorrow night, late
Yeah.
tomorrow night. and Judy will have Wednesday to edit it. Yes, Judy, I definitely want you to edit it.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. Let's see what else. So I want to, we've got someone that's doing the minutes for us. It's Denise, what's her last name, Andrew?
Meyer, I think.
So she works for the town. I'm not sure where, but she volunteered to do it. So she's working on them.
Mayor.
So I would like to get these approved while this committee is intact. So Andrew will talk to her, we'll let everybody know when we can do it, and we'll do something for Quick Mini just to approve minutes between now and maybe the end of next week. Anybody disagree with that? So I'm trying to make sure Chelsea has a chance to vote on them, because there is a chance that she will not be on advisory as of next week. So that's the timetable I'm trying to work with. Whether she could really vote if she is not, if she's been elected, I don't know. So I don't want to have to go there. So I want to try to get them done before she's not available. She always has good comments.
So when would we need to meet then? By,
Well, we could try to do it by, we could try to come a few minutes early to the town meeting. As long as we can get the comments back by then and have them all incorporated, right? So that'd be the goal, is to get them all, but send them out, get the comments back, and then vote on them, a few minutes before town meeting starts. That's one thing we could do.
Kathy, I don't think we, Kathy, I don't think we can get together and vote.
So if we can't, I'm talking about already being there, we're already 6 feet apart. We've got our microphone, we've got our radios. If that doesn't work, then maybe Monday for just a quick, 30-minute meeting to approve them. Because election's Tuesday. How's
Yeah,
that
that's
sound?
fine.
that's fine.
So we'll have to get it all done. So that's at least a tentative plan. If not, we'll have to go to plan B, but hopefully we can get that done. They're all caught up and we won't meet for a while. So we'll be totally caught up at that point. Okay. All right, so let's see who's in the audience here. So any public comment?
Kathy? I don't know if there's any public comment, but if we are not going to meet between now and Saturday, is there anything logistical you think we need to know about Saturday, when we should, how early we should arrive, et cetera, et cetera?
There's still quite a few things in flux right now, Andrew. Or I would have said something. I talked to Mark Purple this morning. They're still trying to work out how they're going to do all this. And so we'll meet tomorrow night with Board Simon. We can always talk a few minutes there with them.
Okay.
But I'll send you an email once I really understand what's going to happen here. I don't think there's any reason to get there too early, because what are we going to do? We can't meet physically.
So the joint with the Board of Selectmen is tomorrow
Yes.
at what time? 4?
No. It's either 5:30 or 6. I think it's 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
What time,
6?
Chelsea?
I think it's 6.
6.
6 too. Everybody thinks it's 6.
I'll double check. Yeah, it's 6.
Okay, so 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Mhm.
Okay, so we can talk, so, we can see, what they have decided to do. They may have more things worked out by tomorrow, but there's still some discussion about what to do about the articles that the Board of Selectmen have voted to hopefully postpone, as far as how to do that piece of it. So they're still talking about what to do here.
Kathy, did we want to designate someone to go to the school committee meeting to talk about the boiler?
We want to designate maybe 1 or 2 people and no more. Everybody else can listen on YouTube, but
Mhm.
you don't want to have a quorum. So I would be happy to do it. Anybody else?
I'm happy to join you if you want another advisory member there.
Okay, so why don't you join me and I will, in the interim, talk to them ahead of time so they know,
Okay.
they won't be surprised.
Okay.
So hopefully we will change their mind by the time they meet, maybe, or at least they're thinking about it. Okay, so that's that. Anything else? So I don't see any public comment. Okay, so motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second,
All in favor? Roll call.
Bud's eye.
Cook, aye.
Pennington, aye.
Malinowski, aye.
Martell, aye.
Bye.
Voting aye.
All right, see you guys tomorrow at 6 o'clock on the Zoom.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
See ya. Thanks.
Bye-bye.